I am Alchunil of House Trepan. House Trepan. It feels a bit of a farce to call those of my name a house. The name itself means to have been stripped, and that we were, stripped of our fortune, our influence, our honor, and our very name. Both our crimes and our original name were lost to the generations. However, so too was our shame forgotten. Some of my name were able to lead rewarding and meaningful lives. I myself became a master chef or a powerful counselor of House Trepan. Ambassadors from the other great houses traveled far and wide to taste of my creations. I took no pride in this, though. My motivations were more academic. I became enthralled by the effects my food had on those consuming it. Adding a bit of trauma root to a roast had an electrifying effect. As a lord or lady would walk over a decorative carpet, their hair would stand on end. Adding some Net's jelly to a savory gravy would cause our guests to sit at the table for hours in a lethargic euphoria. To pluck something from Nern and study its almost magical effects on others was both fascinating and empowering. And then came the Redguard merchant from Stros Mackay. I had frequently purchased spices from the various marine merchants that would visit the ports. This one, however, was unsavory. Yet the spice root he offered smelled of heat and smoke, undoubtedly a unique flavor that I could adorn my next creation with, one that my lord would surely enjoy. It also carried with it a certain tangible power. The skin of my hand tingled at its touch. The temptation to experiment with it was irresistible. The meal was a hit. A nice savory and spicy crab bisque. The pot did not last long. Unfortunately, neither did my masters. 2 noble children and a lady died that night. My own lord went into a coma, only to awaken a cripple. A lonely and vengeful, yet rich and powerful cripple. Fortunately for me, through my years of observing people unnoticed, I was able to escape with my life. I shuffled myself in with a group of refugees crossing the Velothi border into Skyrim. I was able to follow them to the great Nord city of Windhelm. Since the Red Year, those not directly under the care of a high-ranking counselor of a great house struggled harshly. The ash swallowed all orders of life. There was less of everything to go around. Work, wealth, food, and water were all in short supply. For generations, groups of Dunmeri fled Vardenfell in search of a better life in other places. Windhelm was not that place. In the throes of a bloody civil war, Windhelm became the seat of racial tension, most of which directed at elvenkind. The refugees lucky enough to find a home were forced to make do with the Nord's leftovers. They ate, wore, and lived in scraps. Some were better off eking out a living in the ash. I was no more fortunate. I lived most of my adult life in comfort and luxury. Now I lived in an abandoned storage shed. I used to be able to buy and forage the finest ingredients. Now I scavenged the sewers for anything remotely edible. It was not entirely devoid of joy, however. With my culinary skill, I was able to transform the weeds and vermin that lived in the bowels of this foul city into what I called rare Dunmeri delicacies, and sold them to the condescending Nord nobles. And they bought it, and they loved it. To be paid to feed these Nords the very filth they accused my kind of being? It was poetic. And yet all good things must come to an end, as the saying goes. Windhelm was dangerous. The bounty my previous lord would have on my head would be considerable, and the skill and tenacity of a Redoran tracker even more so. And so, as soon as I gathered the necessary gear, I left the cursed city. I traveled south and west, fleeing the Velothi border and my would-be captors, or assassins.